Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name's Nick and I'm here with Chris and Michaela as always. Today we're joined by special guest Halligator, or Hallie as she is known, who I know and Chris knows. And Chris knows very well because they're out there together. So do you want to tell us a little bit about sort of what to expect and then
Yeah,
sort of,
no.
yeah, what you're doing yourself really?
Yeah, well, Hallie's with me right now, back in the jungle here in Peru. We're not. This is, I think, what we've gone through the last week or 10 days is like just like a summary of field work, and I think all of us, Michaela, you can agree, and Nick probably as well. Anybody's gone through this, but basically, we're not where we're supposed to be, but we're doing work, if that makes sense. We had issues
Mm.
with permissions
Oh wow.
and working with a lot of the place we were supposed to go, and it's just been ridiculous complications, which is no one's fault specifically, but just a lot of annoyance. And so it's been a pretty frustrating week personally, which, sounds funny for a lot of people because a lot of people will be like, oh, you're in the Amazon. I've got a special
Mm.
guest fly here as well. People will be like, oh, you should just be happy every minute. You're in the Amazon. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
right.
been a
Working
bit of a rough
different,
week.
right?
But yeah, and with Hallie, she's awesome, and we'll talk about it in the interview. But she's been with us the third time she's been with us. And we do this a lot with volunteers who join us. Often the first or second time they come, we kind of increase their responsibility and the workload for them. So it's like a learning experience about the area first and the animals, and then a bit about the work we do, how we do it, and then sort of gauge their ability to handle that responsibility. And then if they're up for the challenge, then bring them back as an assistant coordinator. And yeah, so I've absolute faith in her. She's incredibly intelligent, and she's been super hardworking and passionate. And it's great to give her the chance to come back and experience this. And to be honest with you, right now, I don't know where I'd be at for these first 10 days if I didn't have her to lean on and help out. So she's been
Wow.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
super excited to have her on and pick her brain about a few things. And yeah, otherwise, I guess I have to remind myself it's not too bad to be here. It's not the worst thing, even though we're at the place we weren't supposed to be at. Currently, I'm sitting in this location. Let's see if we can see. It's just up on a balcony, just overlooking the Amazon there. I don't know how good that was, but hey, it's just the effect that counts. And just chilling with some bat feces all around me because there's some kind of probably I'm assuming Corolla that are sitting here at night eating, and there's a bunch of piper seeds right beside me. So it's the true full-on jungle experience here right now. Yeah, so that's where I am. So Nick, you're in your cave as always with your plants, so
Always.
that's good.
Hey, look at it. It's bright in here. It's beautiful.
The plants there always. I love
Livened
it.
up.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it
I mean
feels a
it's
bit brighter
almost.
than I do.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's almost March. Come on, you should be getting sun now finally
Are
in
you
England.
joking? It's 7
Yeah.
p.m. here. Yeah, come
Where's the
on.
sun?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
There's no way. It's just been raining and grey
Is
just
it?
all day, every day for the weeks on end. We had two
Okay.
days of sun, and I was like, everyone like swarmed like magnets to it. But yeah, it's just grey. I can't. I feel like I've said the same thing every single week. I promise you, I have a good existence. It's just like I'm always slightly hungover on a Sunday, and it's always grey and wet. So it's just the same
Yeah.
answer every damn week.
We always pick the day that all of
Like,
us are in peak condition, right?
Yeah,
Sunday is
yeah,
great.
always. Sunday
Yeah,
is a great day.
yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
great.
No.
What about you, Michaela? How's life? What's been going on?
I mean, it's the same, right? Like, Sunday Scaries is occurring right now in
Sunday
my
scary.
household.
It's good, isn't
But
it?
other than that, I am waiting. I had three interviews, three different positions last week, so I'm going to be waiting to hear back this upcoming week, so I'm kind of excited about that. So
Oh,
that's good. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. I got a couple new plants to also liven up
yes.
my so
I think the funniest thing about the plants is that like people, and probably you saw it, Nick, when you were here, but people come here and they go into the jungle and they're like, oh my God, I paid like $300 for this plant. And I'm like, yeah, cool. It's in the way of my bird nets. Chopped with a machete. And I just get rid of, because they're trash here. They're so common. Like, I don't mean to make
Yeah,
it
yeah.
sound like we kill things every day here, but like we have a trail. It's part of the job. You have to cut it with a machete, right?
Mm.
And these plants get exported or grown in a greenhouse and they're like thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars,
it's
whatever.
stupid.
And
They're
up
just
here, I'm just
everywhere.
like, nah, it's in the way, chop, done. And it's like,
Oh
it's
God.
such
So what
funny,
you're
yeah,
telling me,
yeah,
Chris, is that I could just have you send me a plant
yeah,
Yeah.
easy?
no, I can. That's
How
how we're
easy
going
is
to
it
fund
to export
conservation.
mass plants to here?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going
Oh
to
my God.
smuggle plants out to people in North America and Europe, and that's how we're going to fund conservation. Plant smuggling.
Ah,
I'm
you
not
know
mad.
what?
I'm
That's
not.
quite a
At
reasonable.
least it's not
I
cocaine,
mean,
right? No, it's
yeah,
just
I mean,
plants.
that's
Common,
exactly.
common
So there you go.
plants.
So that's the plan. That's the fallback in my
Amazing.
career, you know. So,
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
anyways, on that
Cool.
slightly criminal note, I guess it's time to get to the
Yeah,
interview with
definitely.
Hallie. Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right.
Right,
I'm
cool.
looking
We'll
forward
leave it
to it.
there.
All right, everyone. So I'm really happy to have one of my assistant coordinators here during our current research expedition at Fauna Forever. Hallie Cowan is joining us as our guest today. As always, really quick, brief background. Hallie is from New Jersey, but the reason she's an assistant coordinator is because she's half Colombian, because if she was only new from New Jersey, probably not going to be here. And she just completed her bachelor's at Eckerd University in Florida. And she's here to help us with a bit of everything, but her sort of main interest and background is herpetology and specifically crocodilians, which is a shared passion for both of us. So yeah, really happy to have you join us, Hallie, our first guest in this strange format.
That's
And
great. I'm
hopefully,
disappointed you didn't introduce her as Halligator, but
yeah,
I love
yes,
that.
the Halligator has joined us. Yeah. We have the Turtle Queen, we have the Halligator. It's
yeah,
great.
it's
Yeah.
perfect. It's
Mhm,
perfect.
mhm.
So, yeah, thanks for taking the time. Well, I guess I allowed you to have the time here because I'm your head coordinator. Didn't have a choice. It's mandated. Today, your job.
This is part of the job.
Yeah, today your
actually.
job is being on the show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So normally, this is the time where the guest sort of talks about themselves and introduces their background
Okay.
and just go for it. Just hit
Yeah.
it.
So I studied animal studies at Eckerd College, and that's in Florida. It's on the west coast of Florida, kind of in the middle. So we're about 4 hours from the Everglades, 4 hours from like the nice sandy North Florida stuff. But yeah, so I studied animal studies. I went in marine science thinking I wanted to do also misunderstood predators, wanted to do sharks. And then I realized I really love crocodilians specifically, but herps in general when I moved to Florida and just expanded it to animal studies. So now I kind of, I'm a herpetologist, but I also like marine stuff as well. And it's kind of covered by that animal studies, but especially crocodilians is what I focused on. It's why I came here originally. It's a big reason of why I'm here. And most of my work has been in Peru. I've been here with Fauna the past 2 summers, and now I'm back as an assistant coordinator. I've done some things in Costa Rica. I've done some things with the Crocodile Research Coalition in Belize. That was a big chunk of how I learned a lot about crocodilians, was working with the Crocodile Research Coalition as a mentee. And yeah, I'm gonna keep working towards a master's program, PhD, hopefully, and just kind of keeping my options open for the future.
Sounds good. Sorry to be fussy, but do you think you could just move the mic slightly across when you're speaking? It was just a tad bit quiet. I didn't want to interrupt on that one. But yeah, so for a bit of context, when I went to Peru with Chris for Fauna Forever, Hallie, what do we reckon? 4 weeks we were there together with at the end? I think it
Yeah,
was around 4 weeks,
I think
maybe.
it was a little longer. It was like 5 weeks.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. But yeah, we met on the same project at the exact same time on that, and I just wanted to ask you sort of the difference between being a volunteer like I was, and now doing a bit of coordinating. How does that feel? Am I-
Yep.
Yeah,
Have fun with that.
definitely more stressful. I feel like as an intern, like I always like wanted to lead things, and I was like always super excited to like be in the front and like take on like doing everything. But like now that it's my job, I'm like, oh, I'm just like responsible for it, you know. Um, and being like a young woman leading a lot of people that are older than me, bigger than me, and a lot of men, like majority men, is intimidating. And it's like I feel that I need to earn their respect, even though the position itself should earn that respect. And it's hard, but it feels really good to have a good team around me that is there to support me.
Cool. So, I mean, I guess kind of building off of that is, yeah, it's one of the things we wanted to sort of talk to you about today in general. Is like, what's your feelings of being, in a field of herpetology that is, and I mean crocodilian research as well. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
is predominantly that stereotype that often the media, internet gives us is like the big, Australian muscly guy, like I'm gonna wrangle a crop. And and I mean sometimes it can be important to have that strength for your proper doings, but often you can do so much without that or using the proper techniques. And as herpetology in general, there's so many cowboy herpers out there that are. What's your feeling as a woman in this sort of field, and your experiences, especially being young too? Like, what's it been like for you?
It's super intimidating, and I think at first I definitely was like just super intimidated and felt like I needed to diminish the feminine side of me, like act very tough, act like things didn't bother me, act like I could do everything and I didn't need help and all those things. Where it was really just that environment made me feel that way, and working with only men, right? And really being a part of fauna has helped a lot with that, and also going to the Crocodile Research Coalition, which was founded and run by a woman, helps a lot, because you see this woman who, yes, is hardworking in the field, doing everything, but also can ask for help, also can direct a team of men and women, and can also like look pretty and like pink and like be feminine, so I think that especially in Florida, like you said, like there's so many like herp bros and like cowboy herpers. And I love that.
I was like, I don't want to rant with you right now. I'm feeling that.
Go for it.
No, it's just like, no, I feel that just like also being a woman in the herpetology field too, it's like I am surrounded by herp bros, or I don't know, hobbyist herpers. And don't get me wrong, like it's just you learn how to handle and coordinate with them, but like they look at you differently, and you can tell, and it's hard, and it's definitely intimidating at first, and I can totally resonate with that, and I think that it's really amazing that you are experiencing this, but sorry, my cat is joining us. Putting her butt in my face. But I think it's amazing, to watch women, such as yourself, who are, getting an insight on how hard it can be, but like how strong you can be, because it is such a male-dominated field, and it's hard. And don't let people diminish your feelings on that, because man, like you can just kill it, especially like with what you're doing and how you're going about it. Don't let like people like that, make you feel intimidated. Like screw that. We're badass women, you know what I mean? But yeah.
It's like a rally. I love it. It's amazing.
Sure.
I can't hear anything right now, but yeah. Yeah.
That's even better. Oh, it's so good.
I'm not sure if that technical issues on our end or your end, or maybe you got your ears are packed. I'm not sure. But anyways, we love you, Michaela. That's the key.
Probably.
We love you. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
The misogyny is
Go.
Yeah. Misogyny is such a like part of that culture, I think, as well. Like not even just like, yes, like sometimes they don't listen to you just because you're a woman or you're small or whatever, so they won't take your input, or like won't listen to an idea until a man says it. But also they'll make jokes, like they'll make misogynistic jokes and jokes that like just aren't okay. And
it's so gross.
You can't stick up for yourself because it's all men. You know what I mean? You feel you can't stick up for yourself. So it's
yeah. And if you do, they consider you a bitch, right? You're, it's not that you're independent or you're strong. You're a bitch for standing up for yourself because you can't take a joke, or you're too quote unquote woke. But I have experienced that. I remember one time I was at a conference and people were recognizing me for like the turtles that I've worked with, which was really great. That was really flattering. But then I've also started hearing rumors going, why is she here? She's just I forget what they were saying, like pretty much like, oh, she was just like a pretty doll. That then they started making like these really like sexual jokes about me, where there was these biologists that I was respecting. I've gotten catcalled in the middle of of an auction at a conference. I remember I had a mentor I was assigned that stalked me and was just talking to me like in very provocative manner. And I think you just hit a point where, and I'm probably a little older than you, and I can really resonate, and like what I understand, it's so intimidating. But you just hit a point where you're like, I'm done. I don't care. if they're making fun of me and it's all men, you stick up for yourself. You can't deal with that anymore, because that pushes you forward. And yeah, you become a little bit more callous, but honestly, they do start to respect you, because you start to cut off those people who are, stepping on you, because they look at you and they think you're a weak little woman. And once you stand up for yourself, they're going to stop. They're done. You can't let that. And it's gross. It is such a gross culture, but there's also amazing men like Chris and Nick, who do stand up for us. And I know a lot of herpers too that are like really, trying to make sure that we are in a safe, comfortable environment, and making sure that our voices are being heard. Sorry to like dominate, but like I'm just like, my blood's boiling. I'm like, yeah, I feel you, girl. I feel you, because dude, I've been through it. There's a journal published, and I was a part of it with that mentor, that he ended up getting like multiple Title IXs because no one said anything, because he brought in the papers, and the universities, and people like, he was just harassing women all the time, and we couldn't say anything because I was scared. I remember I was defending. I was scared. I was so scared. And then finally I hit a point where I was like, I'm not scared anymore. I want this guy to go down. So we published a paper or a journal article, ratting him out pretty much. So it's just like, you hit a point, girl, where you're done. You can't deal with that anymore. But I think that's awesome. Sorry.
That's good. I think, and I guess this is more of a rhetorical kind of question than anything, but I feel like right now there's this exists in all fields of biological science, all fields of science, period. That's for sure. But I do feel like of all the fields, at least in vertebrate biology, conservation biology, I think herps feels like the one where it's still so accepted and so okay, because it's okay, it's a joke, I'm a boy, this is part of the culture, and it's just gross. I hate it. And I mean, it exists in all of them, but I feel like there's already I think for a longer period of time there's been such amazing women in ornithology, mammalogy, and herpetology has always been a place for weird people, but in a great way, regardless of the sex. But when it comes to herps, there's still this male-dominated, egocentric, dick extension aspect of it, which I can't stand. And it means that women like you, who are like leading the way, are struggling right now. And I just hope that in the future, people like you can continue to lead the way and be in a position to actually, make decisions in the future to get this culture out of it more. So
and
props
don't be
to
afraid.
people.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Hallie, like it seems like you're killing it right now, and you're definitely a strong, independent woman. I mean, I don't know much about you yet, and I'm hoping to learn more.
She is. She's scary.
Yeah, like hell yeah. But the thing is, it's like, don't be afraid anymore. Like, stand your ground, because that's like the whole point. It's like they don't care. A lot of these guys just don't care. They're like, well, they are stuck in their ways and they like it. You don't, and you suffer because of it. So stand your ground, be confident, be strong, know your abilities, know that you're knowledgeable in this subject. So, and just act on that. Just stand your ground, be confident, girl.
Thank you. I think it's so encouraging to hear what you have to say too, because hearing about your experience and then you overcoming it by being confident, by being in people's spaces, by standing up for yourself, I think it's not only encouraging for me, but probably other women who hear that, because they're like, okay, if I fight back, or if I'm stand up for myself, it really does work, and I'm not alone. You know what I mean? There's other women, and I feel like that's part of the reason we have to put ourselves out there as women a little more in herpetology, to find each other and not only encourage each other to do things like field work and going out there for academic things, but also just standing up for yourself, personally.
Yeah, no, totally. That's awesome. I guess the other thing, you're first. I think you're the first person who's done a lot of herping in Florida in general. And over and above the sort of misogynistic aspect of it, there's also just this cowboy aspect of it. It's just this craziness of it. And I mean, it's a complicated subject, because in general, herping and having the ability to get out and want to find wildlife can inspire people to be great herpetologists and great biologists, but also there's this other side of it, can be negative or damaging to the environment, or put images out there that are really dangerous for the future, herpetologists and future generations. So I guess from your perspective, being someone who's, relatively young still, grew up in that environment, at least went to school in that environment, what's been your experiences, your impact, your feelings about that culture in that area?
Yeah. This is something uh,
I mean,
you can,
I mean, I just a term that I like using because it's someone who is just out there wrangling snakes in unsafe ways just for the Instagram views. Just like, yeah, look what I got tonight. Woohoo! I got a snake. That kind of person who is not. It's excited is fine, but they're doing things with the animal that might be responsible for its health, for their health, or they're disturbing wildlife in areas that are not really ethical. It's not that they're excited, it's that they're not thinking of all the ramifications of what they're doing for the animal, for the wildlife, and for the image going forward for herpetology. So that's what to me is a cowboy herper. Not someone who's excited or passionate. No. Someone who's
They're really, yeah. They're also really possessive too, like of their sites, of the snakes or whatever herps they find, and they try to. I don't know. I know quite a few that they like. Maybe I shouldn't say too much because
Careful now.
I'm like I have good relationships with these people right now, but there's also some I'm not talking about. They know what I'm talking about, but anyways, but there's some that are just really possessive. And they're like, this is my site. I'm not going to give you information, which is great for conservation, for instance. And then they're just really possessive and they just want the Instagram views. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't care about conservation.
I think a key point of it is like, and what bothers me a lot is, yes, the safety is like a huge thing, but also the way they're portraying these animals, like rattlesnakes, they're like most dangerous animal in Florida. Like it could kill you in 5 seconds, right? And it's like, yes, but it's defending itself.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not, it's that you're handling it unsafely, and it's still an animal that, and people don't develop this sort of empathy towards these animals because of the way these cowboy herpers are portraying them. And for me, that also hurts like funding for herpetologists, right? That hurts funding for conservation towards these animals. And a lot of these animals are also like keystone species, so it hurts other animals as well. And I think this is something that's not talked about enough, is like the implications of these images that these like influencers and like herpers and all that are pushing onto people who just don't know herpetology better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can look at, a simple example is someone like, Steve Irwin, who had so much positive impact. And some of the things he did, in retrospect, maybe now we would say he might have been a little more careful, but he still inspired thousands of people to care about wildlife and animals that often are scared or feared. But now this next generation is maybe not taking the inspiration from him in every way in a positive way. Sometimes they're taking it purely for the views, doing things that are not responsible. So finding that balance is challenging, but I think some of them clearly don't care about finding the balance. They just go over the line happily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Sorry, I think it was the ocean. The ocean was coming back.
Yeah.
Sorry, the ocean.
Oh, so good.
Hallie, do you want to expand a little more on? I know we kind of interrupted that question, but do you want to expand a little more too, just like on your experiences in Florida? I have a lot of herp friends in Florida. I've done a lot of research down there too, and I've had a really lucky experience with all the people I've worked with, and they're so respectful, towards nature. They're really all about conservation. Most of them are guys too, actually, because obviously it's male dominated. But I'd like to hear your, perspective because you've lived there, a lot longer, and yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've had very like conflicting feelings with it, because on one hand, like I love seeing these animals. I love going out, like just hiking for hours and hours and hours and just getting to find them, and even being in the same habitat as them is really fun. And I love like the photography aspect of it. Like I'm a photographer also, and I love that. And being able to do that with people that also enjoy it and like appreciate it is really great. But then on the other hand, you have those people that are like a little more cowboy-y. And I haven't lived in Florida my whole life. It was just in college. So when I first moved there and I got into herping, I wasn't hanging out with people that I guess like I would now. That I was hanging out with people who were a little more misogynistic, disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, and most of them probably, yeah, and most of them probably didn't even know that what they were saying was intimidating me or hurting my feelings or like making me feel unwelcome and diminished. Most of them probably don't even realize it now, just because I just distance myself from them, right? But being able to distance myself from them for a while, I actually like didn't like herping for a while. I took like a long time of I didn't really want to do it anymore, even though I would, because I knew I loved those animals, but like I wasn't having a good time because of the people and all that. But then I kind of separated myself from that, and I was able to separate like herpetology and herping from those boys and those people. And now I like love it again. So it's really all about like the people you surround yourself with, because the wildlife is great in Florida. The wildlife is amazing. The snakes are amazing. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I like that perspective. I was the same way in college. I hung out with a lot of misogynistic people, and I would just kind of adapt to that and be like, oh, what they're saying to me is totally fine, or how they're treating these animals, that's okay. That's just normal. But then yeah, and then once you get older, you distance yourself because you realize like what you're worth. You don't want to correlate these negative behaviors with something that you love, and so I think that's amazing that you develop that passion again in the way that is great for you and healthy for our environment too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's time for that. It's that time in the episode, I guess, for us to to give us a story, or maybe we'll see how time goes, maybe two. But so I know you had a couple that we talked about, and I'll let you decide which one you want to tell.
Yeah,
and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a Florida herping story or Florida herpetology type story, and I couldn't think of anything like super funny that like has happened to me. I feel like I've just watched other people do funny, dumb things, but. There's definitely like a particular individual that inspired me, like a particular snake.
No, just not that. Just guest appearance by Forest Guardians. It's okay. It's okay. We're doing this meeting in the Wilderness International Forest Guardian Station, and they have work that's important, So they're just having a meeting. They're just touring. They're just doing things. So, and I mean, they're speaking. They don't even know what we're saying because they're speaking Spanish and we're speaking English. So it's just like da da da. Love it. Continue. That's where we are.
The building that was under construction.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Squirrel. Okay, continue. Yeah.
But yeah, I was actually driving home from going herping, and there was a snake on the side of the road, so we pulled over because in Florida, like a lot, there's just snakes crossing the road, and we like to help them across the road often just so they don't die and get hit by cars, or like if it's a dead snake, we'll get it off the road so that vultures and other things that'll scavenge on it won't get hit by cars also, because that's a huge problem as well. And just road mortality is huge in Florida, as you guys probably already know. But yeah, so we pulled over and we saw that it was an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, which is the biggest rattlesnake species and not common in Florida, but not the rarest snake, and you do see them, and they do get killed a lot by cars on purpose and by accident and by people who just don't like them. But this individual was like right on the side of the road, like barely in the road, and we saw like a trail of blood leading to it. So we assumed it was dead, like walking up to it, but then it started to rattle a little bit, and we realized that it had struck at a car or was barely hit by a car, enough where it was okay, but it was bleeding, and its venom gland was popped out of his face. So one side of its face was like bleeding and had the venom gland like under its lip like that, like hanging out, and its fang was also broken. Yeah, I know, and it was like barely rattling, like took a while for it to rattle, and like even when it was, it stayed coiled up like with its head kind of hidden. So we had a hook and we moved it out of the road, and then I was calling people as much as I could, anyone like professors at my school that might know a rehabber. I had worked with a rehabber helping out with the surgery once, so I was like calling her, just like calling people who might know someone with like a permit that would be able to help this snake. And we stayed with the snake for like 2 hours, and the whole time it was just seemingly tired, but definitely like a fighter, like definitely like trying to like wipe its mouth, because there would be like ants crawling on the wound, and it would like wipe its mouth on its body, so it would get like blood on its body, and it was trying to rattle when we would get too close, right? So we would like give it its distance so we could it could rest. But just watching this animal like clearly in pain, right? Clearly bothered, clearly like it just really struck a nerve with me and like reminded me that that's why I do this. So that, and not only why I do like the research, but also the photography and the writing, right? It's like for these misunderstood animals, so people can see them in a light that's more true to what they are and who they are. And that's why I actually have it tattooed like on my arm. It's like kind of to remind myself of that individual and like why I do this. And yeah, it's that specific. And eventually, oh, go ahead. No, I was just like, oh yeah. Eventually, someone did come. We got a rehabber to come that had a permit, and he was able to bring like it was a couple hours, and we were actually like about to leave, and we got like down the street, and then he called. I got like a call back, and I was like, oh, perfect. And then we went back and we like waited, and I got like pictures of him like doing his thing and like checking the mouth and everything, and he actually brought her into surgery, and she got her venom gland like removed, and they're waiting for like the fang to grow back in, or I don't know if they're still waiting, but at the time he said the fang will grow back and she still has one venom gland, so she would be okay for re-release once she's healed up from the surgery and that fang and everything. So, and I have like pictures from the surgery that he sent me and stuff. So, yeah, definitely very influential individual.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's I mean, it's a really cool story, and it summarizes so many things. But I mean, also like you said, I mean, it's great to obviously, so like you like herpetology, you like reptiles, amphibians, but it just shows you again that these are just they're just animals. They're trying to live their life. Like honestly, we're in their place. It's not the other way around. So people have so much hate for these animals sometimes, and it's of course a lot of it's fear and ignorance and not intentional. They just don't know better, but there are some people who do know better and still don't like them, and that's really sad because they're just trying to live their life. They're in no way evil animals, as we know. Right?
Yeah, and they truly just want to avoid us. They literally just want to live their lives without seeing us.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, I mean, I'm glad it's really awesome for that snake that you were there to help it, and hopefully it's living its life and taking out some rodents and staying away from people. That's hopefully that's awesome. Well, I think we'll probably wrap this one up because we also have a meeting going on beside us, as you can probably hear.
Yeah, amazing.
Go ahead and wrap it up. And I guess I'm sure I can find some work to have you go and do soon. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I know, it's like, this job's done, Hallie. You have to go do another job. No, I swear I'm not that bad. They have the whole afternoon free, don't worry. So yeah, that's we'll probably wrap this up. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thanks, Hallie. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, I suspect we'll have you on again in the future, maybe when you're somewhere else doing something. Do you want to tell everybody where you're going to be in about a month or so?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm going to be in Darwin, Australia right after this. I'm going for the IUCN Crocodile Specialist Group meeting.
Oh,
so,
let's go. That's quality.
So excited. I've never been to Australia. I feel like I'm not going to come back.
Yeah.
I suspect she'll generate some more stories over the next, months and years, and we'll definitely have you on again. So.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
That was awesome. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Hallie. That was great.
Wrap it up, and we'll see you. Well, I'll see you again soon, but maybe all of us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's good. I've been enjoying the story updates, the Instagram ones, just seeing what's been going on. It's cool. It's good to see.
Really good.
Awesome. All right. Cool.
All right. See you later.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that interview with Hallie. I was so impressed with all of her work ethic, her drive, and just being able to be a woman in this field and talk about it with such confidence and just kind of share her journey about how difficult it was in the beginning, but how much she's grown and learned to be a dominant force in this field. And I'm very impressed with her. I really enjoyed that interview.
Yeah, awesome.
She's great, and I'm really impressed by her, and I think it's, if I'm being honest with you, it's often like, for me, I kind of automatically take a woman who's in herpetology a bit more seriously than a man, to be honest, because I feel like a lot of women in it, not always, everybody's different, but a lot of times I know that you go through so much to be in the field that if you're
Yeah.
at this point where you're still committed and still doing things, you really are committed. You know, it's not an easy road. It's not the kind of thing where there's this boys network you can just fall into and have an easy road into it. Not to say it's easy for men, because I'm not saying it is, but I think it's even more challenging for women. And yeah, it's awesome to see her and give her the chance. And actually, our other co-coordinator right now, our other assistant coordinator is Romina, is again another woman, and she's actually from here in Peru. She's from Lima, which God knows it's got to be almost more of maybe even more of a challenge for her, right? So
Yeah,
she's
right.
helping with a bit of everything as well, but her main area of interest is herps as well. So it's super cool. I mean, I really love it. We go on a herp walk, and it's the three of us, and it's great to have like two of the people leading this walk and identifying things and handling things are both women. It's yeah, it's great. It's a small step, to give more opportunities, but I think it's fantastic. I'm really, really happy with it. They've been great.
Oh, it's definitely. It was really cool. I mean, it was nice to catch up with Hallie again. I spent quite a lot of time with her. We used to go out on the bird tricks in the morning, and then out on the herp night walks. We would sort of get up and do both with Chris, the crazy psychopath who can do it every day. But we joined quite often the time, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we got quite close because we spent so much of the time together, and it was really nice. Obviously, didn't get to talk about that so much, but and the important things that were talked about are much needed. And yeah, great interview, and it was nice to Michaela to have your input as well on it. I enjoyed it. I know you said you felt it was a bit ranty, but I really enjoyed it. It was good. It's nice to have some passion, and both of you are doing amazing work in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
sort of similar but separate fields, if you like.
No, and I appreciate you guys listening and being receptive and accepting of our struggles in the field. And I mean, it's hard to put yourselves in our shoes, but to listen and learn and adapt and and have it's so nice, especially in this field, but like not just herpetology, but in the wildlife field, to have men and who are your friends, colleagues, and you feel safe and comfortable with, and that you can be a strong personality or confident or knowledgeable, and you're not considered, rude or naggy or too emotional, because you're a woman. And so yeah, I definitely got very passionate with Hallie's talk because there's not many female herpetologists, but two, to be able to relate to someone and kind of pass off my experiences and my wisdom in that fact, being that like I've been through crap. I've been through such hard struggle where it's made me really reconsider this field, and to persevere and then see another person who's a little bit younger who's doing the same thing, who's going through it, and just to say, hey, you know what, be confident, be strong, don't be meek around these boys, and yeah, it was a great time, and I could talk about it for hours, and I have before. So but yeah, it's good.
Great. I mean, it's great. We still don't have we're still just a couple followers short of 1 million at this point, but but I still think it's really good that we bring this up, even in however many people see it. The more it's out there, the better. And I also I really like, just as a general, not to toot our own horn here as a show, but I like that a lot of our guests come on, and we don't always know exactly where it's going to go, but we seem to really dive into a lot of these topics, which are super relevant, about dealing with mental health and prioritizing yourself and boundaries, and now this issue with obviously how women are treated in this field. I think it's great. I'm really just going to say it for all of us, and I'm proud of that we talk about that, because it's super important. It's easy to talk about
it's natural.
It'd be super easy to just talk about a cool animal and nothing else all the time, or like, look at the research you did, it's amazing, and that's it. But there's so much more to this life than just that, so I'm glad that we dive into that and talk about it. So yeah, I would say awesome. And Michaela, you go on a rant whenever you want. I mean,
yeah,
I love your rants. So
yeah,
awesome.
I know we have many.
Yeah,
Sending many.
Yeah. Imagine if we could do an entire podcast series just off the voice notes we send each other. So
I know. I was just thinking about that. I was like, if we posted this online, how safe and good would this be for the world?
Not at
Not
all.
People know how much of a sailor's tongue I actually have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is incredibly PC for the three of us, like considering our individual personalities.
Viewers have no idea.
It is.
Oh my God.
We're just holding
So
back,
PC.
man.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Wow.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Look at us, the professional control.
I know.
Amazing.
Like the filter goes right on when the lights come on. It's great.
I can't believe it. It's almost smooth, this episode.
Yeah, aside from the potential, we don't know yet, the potential crushed view of my face during
It's
and Hallie's
definitely,
face,
definitely crushed.
that might
Alright,
be.
here's the good side.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what editing magic Nick was able to do, which we don't know yet as we record this. But the magician Nick Smith may have fixed it.
Fix
I
it.
have it. I
So
have it.
if people saw me and Hallie together full screen, Nick is a genius. And if not, well, he's still in school to learn how to do better. So either way,
But if
there you go.
not,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's releasing in 2 days, and I'm telling you, I haven't sorted.
Oh man,
I don't
it's
even
great.
know the process of sorting it out. I looked at it anyway. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, it's great. I love it. I love
ask
it. Perfect.
ChatGPT.
Yeah, ask
Yeah,
Chat.
I'll ask ChatGPT. That's what I should be
Make sure you
doing.
say thank you.
There you go.
know.
It'll fix everything. Just have ChatGPT make up a virtual image with the right
Yeah.
angle of both me and Hallie, and there you go.
Yeah,
Done.
What's it?
Literally type in Halligator and see what pops up. It'll be fine.
What's
Yeah.
that? The AI videos. Have you seen that? The stock footage videos that AI produce now, just from
It's
prompts.
crazy, right?
It-
Yeah. It's crazy.
What?
No.
That's like they just released that on one of the main platforms. It's insane. It's so real.
It's
Oh.
insane. Yeah. No, I think, and it's that type of thing's coming into research and everything, right? It's amazing. So scary but amazing at the same time.
Scary.
Yeah, it's both, right? It's actually both. Yeah. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
a whole separate thing, isn't it?
That's why, like, when I use ChatGPT, I thank them just in case they take over the world. It's like it's in the back of my mind, and I want to make sure that like they know I appreciate them instead of just being really mean when they don't do things right. So
When the robots come, they'll be like, "She was
It's
nice. We
happening.
will spare her." Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, she
Smart.
said thank
Plan
you.
ahead.
She's polite, you know.
Crazy, yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's
Anyway, before this derails
All right. Yes.
horrendously,
Absolutely. Well, good episode, guys. We made it work.
Yeah,
and
it's great stuff,
who knows
yeah.
what we'll do next week? But as always, we will make it work.
yeah, got some ideas. So,
Yeah.
cool.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
All right then.
All right.
We will end there then. So as always, like, comment, share. I feel like we don't do a good enough effort on
No,
the
we don't.
like.
We don't. We need better.
Like,
But-
share, subscribe.
By now, people should. If people made it to this
Tune in.
point in this episode, people are
Yeah,
probably like,
they're already
"Oh."
liking it. So
They
their
already like
family
it,
members,
Jared.
they're like.
Yeah. I think we need to do it in the first 10 seconds to keep people
Yeah,
in.
we.
That's
I
for
think
sure.
we do. Yeah, we
yeah.
need to up our promotion game on that. But that's
True.
it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. It's
We're still learning. We're still learning.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so yeah, great podcast, guys, and we'll tune in again next week.
Okay. All right. Ciao.
Bye, guys.